Welcome to Ring Talk, the weekly Goodwin boxing TV show. With us this week, Steve Goodwin is away, so we've got Kevin Campion, head of boxing at Goodwin Boxing.
Late substitute.
Not as good as Steve, better looking than Josh, so we subbed him in. So we're going to talk with Kev because he's also got an interest in the ticketing market, and so I know it's a hot topic that a lot of boxing fans get quite emotional about, and none more so than me. Get enraged online. And yeah, what's going on at Goodwin Boxing really. So for a lot of people out there, probably won't be that familiar with you, Kev, as a person, because you're behind the scenes, I guess, of Goodwin, and yeah, I think that typically suits you, doesn't it? Like you're never.
Steve's the main focal point, and Steve obviously drives the interest. So I'm involved in a lot of stuff, and you'll see me about and stuff like that. But yeah, it's Steve has more interesting stuff to talk about, and because Steve's the figurehead, and because he manages, people want to hear what he said rather than.
This is the problem. Kevin underrates how interesting it is. But you'll find out over the next half hour.
It's not that. It's just I just don't feel like there's as much interesting things to say. But anyway, we'll find out.
So what does the role of a head of boxing entail? So I mean, people may associate that with John Wishausen when he was at Matchroom, Frank Smith now at Matchroom. Obviously they're different setups, different organisations, but from your role as head of boxing at Goodwin, what's the
head of boxing is not really a term we use so much anymore. It was when I very first came here, but obviously over time what's happened is obviously Goodwin Boxing's grown. They brought more promoters to come in to work with Steve, and so then matchmaker is probably more of what people know before I've seen it. However, I don't do all of the matching, although I'll get the criticism and sometimes the credit for it. we kind of do that all together. So I basically do a lot of logistics, a lot of event stuff. So event manager probably suits better. So just top to bottom for logistics for things, but obviously do the foreign fighters as well. I do a lot of graphics and videos with Josh as well. So there's quite a lot. So it's quite a lot of medicals as well. So.
Yeah, you tie a lot of things together. Yeah, where a show wouldn't happen if there wasn't you.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it wouldn't happen, but I make it easier. I make it run a bit smoother in terms of just dealing with the board, making sure medicals, dealing with our managers, just tying up the loose ends really. Yeah. Jack of all trades, master of none, basically.
So how did you get into boxing? Because again, for those that don't know, you've got a background of cornering, of seconding, of promoting.
Everything. I try me out anything else.
So the number of licenses that you probably flick through on a
all I'm doing is just work away for the license so I find what I'm good at and then I go stick it there. So training is what I started at. So I turned professional coach, it's got to be 8 years ago now, 7-8 years ago. I was teaching amateurs before that and white collar, etc., just in a gym. And then one of the lads that we was with decided to turn pro. A guy called Luke Fowler, only ever had one fight, never boxed again, but we turned over together.
Did he win?
He did win.
Yeah, he got undefeated.
And the guy never boxed after that, so his opponent never fought again. So he did such an I think it was just one of those. So I come into it from training and. Just doing training, and then I met Dean Powell, who was very influential. I met Dean Powell, I hounded him on Twitter. So how the story of that come from? When I came into the professional game, I didn't know anybody in the professional game at all. So Dean Powell was obviously Frank Moran had the Sky contract there. If you watch Sky, Dean Powell was in everybody's corner. So I thought I want him in the corner with me because he's obviously experienced. Got him on Twitter, hound him. He then sent me his number, which was the worst thing he could have ever done because then I just hounded him. I could hound him at home, and he was great to me. He worked the corner. He worked my very first corner with Luke Fowler. He worked all the.
Take him helped you out of a debutant
on a Sunday afternoon on the Miranda Carter show. Yeah, so he came, and like I say, this is a guy that was doing world champions, 1 week, and then was me and Luke Fowler on a Sunday.
Because Dean Powell's renowned as like probably the best matchmaker of the last 50 years or so.
It was incredible. And I think he didn't really come from a boxing background per se. He could read a fight fantastically. Hand wrapping was what he was great at. Like probably the best. certainly this country's had in hand wrapping. So again, he came Luke's hands, did his cuts, although he didn't give me cuts, but so that happened for that. So I had that relationship with Dean. I was really appreciative for that because he didn't have to do that.
No.
And then I became the house second for Frank Warren, and Dean made sure I did the home corners. So I was the bucket and stall boy for George Groves, Billy Joe Saunders, Nathan Cleverley.
I remember some of the names you told me once.
Yeah. So
people
it was incredible. I was working corners with Adam Booth, Jimmy Tibbs, legendary people in the sport, and it was great for my confidence. It was a great experience because I would watch around and think, right, I'd say this to him now, and then when you hear some of the legends say the same things, you're almost like, I say the same thing. It was that kind of thing. So
did you ever give your input to them?
Not really.
Or did they ever ask for it?
No, not really, because that's not the job. You're not there as a house second. The only thing I would probably do is if I see a cut as a house second, you might say he's got a cut above the right eye, because sometimes you don't see it because your positions are on the different side of the ring. So you might input, but no, I mean, I didn't want to overstep my station.
Yeah.
I mean, I was literally...
got shy over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't want to encroach. These guys have forgotten more than I knew. So that was that. So then that gained experience, obviously training more fighters. Then my fighters was signed to Steve. That's how I met Steve. And we built up a relationship. And then he said, obviously, there's a...
You were down in Essex at that time.
Yeah, so Burnham on Crouch, which is where I was born and raised and everything else. And Val, I'd never moved because I like it there and my family's there. And then the opportunity came up with Steve, and we kind of talked about it. So I uprooted my family and children, and
you're incredibly understanding wife.
It was incredible. I literally just came home one day and said it was like a woman's laying buses. And
how do you broach that subject? Because I'm nervous telling her that I've run out of bread, or like.
I was in another job before I came to work for Steve. I was training people full time in PTing, but before that, I was working different jobs and everything. But I wanted to do boxing full time. We had a house at the time we was renting, and I came home one day from work and said, "This is not what I want to do. I want to quit the job. I want to go into boxing full time." That means we've got to give up my house. So we did. We gave up the rented house. We moved back to my parents with 2 children, and we lived in my parents' house to lower my expenses, so I could then go into the boxing full time. And thankfully, it kind of worked out right. I mean, we've kind of got to a point now where the gamble paid off. But I've been lucky as well. Sort of landed on my feet a little bit with meeting Steve, and it just kind of worked. So.
Yeah, I think for those people that probably think everyone in boxing has it easy from the start, it's...
Yeah, I mean, I've been really lucky. Dean
that's only because you grafted for it. Luck doesn't come to Moses.
So there is that. But I say Dean Powell was very good to me at the beginning. I've met some great people all the way through, and then obviously meeting Steve. So it's really worked. So I've been really, really, really lucky. Yeah, I have worked well, but I've been lucky too. So
yeah. And then nowadays, you don't do the promoting side of it.
No,
you stepped away from that.
Yeah. It's small hall boxing is very easy to lose money if you don't do it right. It distracted from what I was doing in everything else.
Yeah.
Steve was very understandable. I wanted to give it a try. It didn't work for me. It's not I'm not saying I would never do it again, but I probably would never do it again. But yeah, it just wasn't. If a show loses and it lost £3,000, £5,000, £7,000, I personally can't afford for that to happen. I've got a young family, so and because it's so thin margins and small promoters work really, really hard, and obviously I do that with Steve and the other promoters there, but it's hard to make a living. And I know everyone thinks that they're making 20 grand a show, and it's really not the case. So I've come away from it just because, like I say, I can't afford for that to happen. So
what's a favourite part of what you do now? Because you mentioned earlier it's kind of multifaceted of doing graphics, tickets. I see you picking up boxes on a Friday evening from Luton Airport. I see you walking out with Terry Stewart and helping Terry out with all of his. What's the favourite bit out of all the different?
I don't know really. It's all different parts. I like graphics is cool, videos is cool because you create something from nothing. You can see an end product. But just obviously being around and seeing guys coming all the way through, helping guys with the medical. Obviously, we had the junior Saba, which is the one
which you were very involved with, weren't you?
Yeah, medical side I'm quite heavily involved in. And like I say, any of the board liaison stuff, anything to do with the board, it tends to be me. So I don't know. I wouldn't say there's a. The worst part is, excuse me, it's probably the airport runs. It's a Friday job, but it's just a nose of a job. But
Friday night picking up 10 Bulgarians.
Yeah, and look, they're great guys. And the only downside of that, what then happens? Obviously, you're bringing them guys over effectively to lose to your guys. Hopefully, it's kind of how you're matching it. So the UK guys.
Yeah, in theory, they're always going to be a level below where you are.
Hopefully, if you've worked it out right, this can obviously sometimes mistakes can happen. But what happens, because you tend to use the same guys, you become close to these people, and they become friends. They add you on Facebook, and then all of a sudden you don't want to see you want to see anyone to get hurt, but you know what I mean. You're then
there's a conflict.
Not a conflict where you want them to win.
An emotional.
Yeah, like you're then thinking, I hope he survives, so he doesn't get stopped. So that there's that side to it.
Yeah, as well. I know David Evans, the whip, always he's really close to a lot of them.
Yeah,
and he says when he goes down into the away corner, he'll come out and tell me at ringside. He's like, oh, Bodensland or whatever. He's looking top tonight.
And that's the thing as well. Like, I don't think they foreign boxers get a lot of criticism. We're divert.
No.
Foreign boxers get a lot of criticism.
I've got an agenda.
Latvian taxi drivers and road trips. Do you know what? Every boxer you pick up, they're always generally in high spirits. You know, they don't seem to have the worries or the cares or get stressed as much. Like, I've never had a foreign boxer say, if I don't get the right music, I'm not coming out.
Yeah.
Like all the stuff you see, they generally know they're overmatched because they understand the UK has got good amateur pedigrees. You know, they're coming from countries where they don't have a lot of boxing, but they'll come. And also injuries, like you get very few foreign boxers pull out of a fight injured compared to the ratio of UK. Now I don't know why that is. Obviously they're getting paid, so maybe they need the money, so maybe they will go through with the nigger, whereas UK wouldn't. I'm not saying anyone should fight with an injury, but
when that option isn't as
exactly. It's a real difference. And like I say, I have real respect for them to come over, and I hate when you say, oh, they're Latvian bums or whatever, because you think they're just like normal people, but they're just coming to do a job. So
how will Brexit affect bringing over Latvians? I mean, I know it's a little bit unknown.
Yeah, we don't know. Obviously, in the EU, if you can move without visas, etc. Like that. Whether that will change with Brexit at this stage, we don't know. If they still allow freedom of movement, then hopefully it should be okay.
But if there's a risk that for them to come over, they need to get a visa, that adds the cost on.
Adds the cost, adds time, adds everything. Because what can happen now in the EU, you can get a guy at late notice, maybe a week's notice, stuff like that, because you know they've got freedom of movement. If you've got someone coming and need a visa from you, there's a process that takes in place. Then there's the visa only lasts for a certain amount of time. So there's so many with visa. It tends to be. That's why you tend to see, especially small haul, you tend to stick.
You don't get South Americans come over
because it becomes so much. The flight costs are much more higher, but there's so many more other things that you have to take into consider. Whereas someone from Bulgaria is relatively straightforward.
EasyJet.
Basically regular flights. Monies can be okay, and their freedom of movement. You know, they can travel on their national ID rather than a passport.
I love it that we send our lads over to Bulgaria for like a stag do for a weekend. Ironically, end up in a punch up
training
camp in Bucharest.
But you know what? There's some really, really great guys, but what you will see with foreign box, especially ones that can survive, you'll see they learn on the job and they start to get better. Particularly Latvians, you've seen that. Whereas Ivan and Vic is the prime example. Come over and was getting beat loads of times, getting knocked out. Then all of a sudden he started chinning a few people, and then he's become very tough. So they almost learn on the job. You almost see them, develop.
Yeah. There's one of them looks like Novak Djokovic. I can't remember the guy's name, but an incredibly muscular fella. I think light heavyweight. I mean, he looks an awful lot like you. He's one of my favourites. He's always a threat.
That's the thing. There's so many guys that I say box artists, and well, so there's loads. You tend to see the same ones, but it's but there's some good guys that come over as well. You get some absolute toilet as well. But, but you know.
Yeah, there was the one that froze, wasn't there, under the lights? I can't remember his name.
Is that the young lad?
Yeah, young lad.
Kickboxing shots. I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
literally, he was petrified.
Walked out and was sat there ringside thinking, he wants to be anywhere but in that ring.
And, you know, and obviously you do research beforehand. We've seen him before. His record, he was 3-1 or something like that. He'd had some fights. It wasn't like but and we'd seen him on YouTube as well, and he looked okay. But literally, Campion was like rabbit headlights, which I suppose can happen. I suppose if you're used to fighting in. Have you been to Latvia? Have you seen?
I've been in a gym in Latvia.
Yeah,
watched,
so you've seen watched
professional boxing.
Yeah, exactly. So
in very inverted commas,
it's completely different, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's an experience doing that. I'd recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
So lads that you're helping bring through at the moment, I know all the lads in the Goodwin stable. You have, you touch base with at some point, but they're the ones that you're closer with that you've trained before. So down with Terry Stewart at KO. So the likes of Luke Robinson, Sean Robinson, Linus, Brad Pauls, myself when I spent an intense training course down there, which Kev did train me up for.
I helped you a bit for Terry. Ellis beating you up in sparring.
Ellis been beaten up by a child, technically a child in sparring. But yeah, I mean, are you still kind of involved in the? Yeah,
to be fair, I should go down to Terry. Terry's their trainer. Terry trains them. I will go to the gym and help them from time to time. I haven't done. Logistically, it's a good hour and 10 minutes from here, which isn't too far. But I tend to be travelling in the rush hour with the rush hour.
I've been on that journey with you.
Yeah, it can be horrific sometimes. And also, I've got a wife and 3 children as well. So it's the juggling.
It's a great excuse to get away.
But corner work and training is where I feel the most comfortable and at home. Like that's really what I feel I am. But there's no money in training. It's not like money as in I want to make millions of pounds. Like it's hard. Like if you were just a professional trainer, you'd be struggle to make a living to do it. There's only very few that can do it, and they don't do it overnight. You have to serve your apprentice. But yeah, so it's very, very difficult to do that. So and that was one of the last thing that Dean Power said to me was, you've got to stay in boxing, that's your future, but if you get a chance to cross to the business side, try to. So
you stuck to it?
Yeah, well, I just kind of fell in the right place for me,
And did boxers approach you to come and help out in the corner? Because I've seen you've been there with Ollie Patterson quite a few times.
Sometimes do. I mean, obviously I get access to them from early on, so I never volunteer and say, I can do your corner. It's kind of like, if you need to do it, it's kind of I will jump in for anyone really, but obviously Steve's fighters if they need help in the corner. So yeah, you do get someone that's asked. Obviously I went down to Walsall and did Sajid Abid, which is one of Steve's fighters a couple of weeks ago in his corner. So yeah, I'll help where I can. I don't know if they ask because they want the expertise or just need someone to do it.
Kev, you'll be there, right?
Yeah, exactly that. So it's look, anyone that asks me to do a corner, I'm privileged. Like I said, that's the most fun for me, being in the corner. That's the best time.
Strategizing and trying to feed
just
it into.
Seeing how it goes, just being like, you get the best seat in the house. Especially working with Terry. I have a close relationship with Terry. We've been friends for a long time, and just talking to it. He sees things, I see things, and that is a real nice experience, all the way from the gym to being in the corner dressing before, and it's a real sort of like that's why trainers do it for that. It's a good feeling.
And then tell us about iBoxing tickets. So this was your birth child of an idea to make a ticketing platform, so the small hall boxers don't have to do the miles in their car and go out and
again, it was kind of lucky how it came about. So iBoxing Tickets is effectively an online ticketing platform. The same way that Ticketmaster or StubHub or anyone else is you can buy tickets direct from the promoter.
So the URL is
www.iboxingtickets.com.
There you go, right.
So you can buy tickets from the promoter in the same way you can any other thing. The only difference is you can also buy from the boxer. So what it does is it allows the boxers have to sell tickets, everybody know that at Small Hall. So what it does is it allows people to buy tickets directly from the boxer. Any ticket that's bought from the boxer's page is allocated to that boxer. So an iBoxing tickets then take the payment, send the tickets out, arrange it to be at the venue, and then notify the boxer to say John Smith has brought X amount of tickets. So the idea bore from, when was it Wayne's, I used to talk to the boxers, how's it been this week, blah blah, and every boxer said, the last week everyone wants tickets. You're trying to do your last bit of training, you're trying to get ready to prepare, but you're having to drive.
Cut that weight as well.
Yeah, exactly, cut the weight, and everyone wants tickets at the last minute. So I come away from that thinking, there's got to be a way that we can try and reduce that. And iBox tickets was that. I thought if we can do a platform, we can take everything away from the boxer, or reduce it at least. We can hopefully make it easier. Now, there is some downsides to it. Downside is the customer has to pay a little bit more because you're taking card payments, so you lose a percentage of bank charges, and obviously there's got to be a little bit of a margin for the company to be able to do it. So that's a downside. But other than that, there's so many upsides. A, the box doesn't do so much. B, is customer data, so you can remarket to those customers. So obviously, if people bought tickets to see you, Martin, when you fight again, you can then remarket to those people. And
so they're not coming the second time.
Everyone's data is kept separate, so no one's data mixes. So, like, people that see Brad Pauls wouldn't get an email about Linus's fight. They'd only get emails about Brad Paul unless they brought from.
They probably would anyway, because they share a lot of
unless they brought from both and made a list. So there's no cross of data. And it's just that remarkable. So it's about trying to take that away from the boxers, and then the platform creates its own content as well to help promote the boxers as well. And like I say, that's separate from Goodwin Boxing. That's my, like I say, baby really.
And it's not just Goodwin boxers that you work with, is it? You got other promoters around the country.
There's lots of. I mean, we've got BCB, we've got Senegals, obviously got Haymaker, we're Poxton Sports. There's Cole Greaves. There's loads.
Yes, it's not just small hall. You've sold tickets to the David Hay fight.
So we are the. If Haymaker Boxing, when they do a show, if you go to Haymaker Boxing and click tickets, it will come to our boxing tickets. We're their preferred platform for that, which is great for us.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I say, it was kind of bore out the idea of helping the boxers make it that bit easier. It's a little bit ahead. My prediction is, I think in the future it's all going to go that way, and I just want it to be first kind of in the market for that, in the hope of thing. It is a little bit restrictive, because I built the website myself. I don't code.
Man of many talents.
Well, no, but it's literally, I don't know. That's the thing. It's restrictive because I don't really know how to do a great deal. So it's okay, but it works. It's fine for what we need.
So if anyone out there wants to lend an ear to Kev around,
it costs money. It costs lots of money.
Not our viewers. They're doing it for free. They're good people.
Yeah. So the idea behind it is, like I say, I want to try and reduce it as much as I can. So the boxer just gets a link, and they can, if there is someone that's 20 minutes drive away, they can say, look, do us a favour, mate, can you buy it from here? It still gets credited to me. So the two biggest problems are that people don't know about it so much at the moment, and people don't necessarily trust it, first of all. Boxers are worried that they're selling tickets they're not getting accredited for, which is never going to happen, because someone's got to say, well, I bought tickets from there. And again, it's that, and the consumer's got to trust it as well. Obviously, we know there's lots of ticketing problems and issues and fake sites and that sort of stuff. But
having gone through the website, it's quite self-explanatory when you get there that you find the boxer you're looking for and you buy from that boxer.
Yeah, if you go to the site and do it that way, but the way to eradicate that is hopefully the boxers push their own links out enough, and you literally just click and go straight to it. So the idea is you don't lose anybody in the transition. But I mean, literally, if you wanted to buy tickets for Martin Theobald, if you was on there, you literally just go in the search bar and type in Martin Theobald, and it will come up. Or click buy from boxer, and it's alphabetical, or you can scroll through. So it's relatively straightforward. And I have redesigned it recently, and I don't know if that's made it harder or not. I'm not sure, but we'll hopefully get that feedback in time.
And then, of course, you put other content on there as well to try and drive traffic through it.
So we've got a new section that you do.
You get some fantastic writers, guest writers on there.
So again, that's the idea. So you've done some pieces for us in terms of writing it. That's kind of what we want to do as well, was create news articles around the boxers as fighting and then drive traffic that way. We've obviously got the Boxer of the Month thing, which you started now as well. The last couple of months that you, Danny Flexon and David are doing the...
David Payne
are doing the, picking a boxer per month.
Congratulations, Tommy Coyle.
That's one. You three couldn't agree.
It was. That's only because David Payne he picked up Bradley Price.
It was worth a good mention.
I've nothing against Bradley Price whatsoever, but I'm not sure what he did in the month of April.
No, I think it was just
it was his retirement.
Yeah.
So good luck to Bradley Price in retirement. I hope he stays retired as well.
Yeah.
I don't mean that horribly. I just mean he's come and gone from the sport enough now that.
He had a good career.
Hope he can get his life outside of it.
Yeah, it's hard and it's boxers. But yeah, so again, that's the idea. We're not trying to be. I don't have the time to be able to populate with latest news. That would be the golden ticket in the end, is hopefully then you're populating lots of news articles, but I don't have the manpower, the time or the inclination to do that eventually. But yeah, I just want to cover lots of bases with it, really.
Cool. Right, we've got some questions for you, Kev, which I've not been organised enough to get printed, so we're going off my phone.
No worries.
That's the kind of professional...
I'm sure this happens every week where you kind of say...
It does, to be fair.
I haven't been organised.
It happens most weeks.
I think you just fell into the point that you just don't bother anymore.
That's slanderous. You upset my feelings. You get a legal letter. Right, question from Paul Oldtie. If Kevin could bring back any fighter he has worked with in the past who is no longer in boxing, who would it be?
God, I don't know, really. I wouldn't want to bring any boxer back that wouldn't retired. They're obviously retired for a reason. It's difficult, really, because there hasn't been loads and loads retired since I've been.
Take it out of who you've worked with. If you could pick a boxer from the past that you miss in the sport, because for me it's always Naz. Like if you could take a prime fighter, because I grew up on Naz.
Someone like that.
Him and Lomachenko would just be ridiculous.
Mayweather again is another one. I suppose I would put the younger Mayweather you would like for his style. I suppose Naz would be a good shout in terms of entertainment value for that. There is no Naz about.
What could Sky do with Naz?
Exactly. Yeah,
they did a brilliant job at the time with him. But
can you imagine he'd be like a global star, wouldn't he?
I remember seeing him on Top of the Pops. You remember that? Terrible song that he made. I still bought it, I think.
Again, that's. There isn't so many of them, but you can't really. A lot of boxers have tried to be like him, haven't they? You can't fake that kind in this day and age as well, where people have got access all the time. You can't fake that kind of personality. It's either your personality.
You're either it or you're not.
And it's you're either good at boxing or not. Isn't it?
That's my favourite picture. You ever see it online where it's just got Naz's head going? So Paul, I'd say probably Naz, but out of we're working with, I haven't really got anybody. Stole that answer. Anthony Ridley. It's an interesting one, actually, given your involvement with the iBoxing tickets. Where does Kev see the future of ticketing going? Is the Ed Sheeran solution, i.e. you have to show your ID and a credit card that matches the name on the ticket to gain entry, the best way to kill off touting?
The thing I think will happen with ticketing is that I think all tickets will go on your phone. I think and then you'll be able to send them to each other, but it will only be registered to that device. Everything will be done on the phone. You'll buy it on the phone, you'll scan it as you go in on the phone. That's where I think it will go. Everything will go mobile. Touting's a problem. The resale market is a problem. I understand why people do it. We don't have a resale function on our boxing tickets. I don't want to get involved in that whole thing. So the answer is I think it will all be on the phone. I think that it will have to be a registered device. It will have to be you. There'll be ways to link it to your EI number or whatever. But I think the future of ticketing is it will be on your mobile. 100%.
So no more print it off at home.
It won't happen.
Getting it through the post.
Because from both points of view. You see e-ticketing's happening more and more. You print your own tickets at home, stuff like that. Again, there's still a cost to somebody for that. You see boarding passes now on your phone. It will go on your phone. Everything will come mobile, and it will be paperless because again, it saves money. Even to print tickets, even things like that, it will be easier. And it'll be much, once it's all digital, it'll be much easier to stop. Like, you can kill someone's ticket if it's digital, because it will be registered somewhere and you can stop it, and you haven't got to worry about the barcode or anything else like that. So
what would be interesting to see in that scenario then is, you know, if I were a tout and I bought a ticket and I get it through to my phone, presumably it'd be a QR code of some sort that you'd scan as you go in. That tout could screenshot it and sell it to 5 different people.
Sure, there is that, but that's why I'm saying I think it could be linked to the IMEI number of the phone. I think what will happen eventually is they will do something where you purchase ticket via an app or however it will be, and that will be linked to the. So at the moment you have to show your credit card thing. Instead of it being showing your credit card, the ticket will have to match the IMEI number, and I think it will go that way. It will definitely go that way, in my opinion. I can't see it going any other way.
There you go. Hope that answered for you, Anthony. Next question is from Danny Watley. Now, I've avoided touching on this until now because I thought it was quite a pertinent question. Should and will David Hay retire? You were there the weekend, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there. He FaceTimed me this morning. I spoke to him this morning.
Did you?
Yeah, no, he FaceTimed. Yeah, so he's.
knows everyone.
No, well, we worked with him for 2 years. We were close to each other.
I work with people. They don't FaceTime me.
Yeah, no.
Former world heavyweight champion.
It's we've worked with him for two and a bit years. He's a personal friend of ours, and it wasn't nice to see him like that.
Was he in good spirits this morning?
It was fine. Really, really good spirits. And I don't want to say too much, but yeah, it's totally fine. Like, except for the fact that, you know, on the night he came up short. So, you know, there was no excuses. He was healthy, he trained well. Yeah, so it was all good spirits. It happens, and sometimes you go to the well and there isn't anything there. And should you retire? I think he should. Like, it wasn't the David Hay of 5 years ago, 6 years ago goes for Tony Bellew Red. That's no disrespect to Tony Bellew. Tony Bellew is a fantastic fighter. Him and what Dave Caldwell's done with Tony Bellew has been fantastic. I think Dave's been a fantastic coach for him. I think the game plan was right. I think Tony's come on leaps and bounds recently as well.
But they've timed it the right time to get Hay.
100%. Sometimes you get it at the right time, and they got it right at that time. And look, I thought David looked good for 2 rounds. In the 3rd round, they slung it out. It got a bit of a lottery, and when 2 punches swing, it becomes, you know, whoever lands. And Bellew landed, and David never really recovered from the knockdown, or the 1 or 2 knockdowns in the 3rd. And so yeah, I think he should retire. Because he was a phenomenal fighter. Yeah. I mean, if you think back to his cruiserweight days, boxing, people forget sometimes how good he was and what he done. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, and so he's always been fantastic to us, and I can only speak as a fighter. He's been good to deal with professionally. He's been good on a personal level. My daughter is fascinated by him because he's on the telly. He'll call and talk to her on the phone. like he really, and he doesn't have to do that, you know, so, but you know, he is really a nice guy. And but yeah, I say sometimes it comes to an end.
I think there's a part, as a boxing fan that again kind of grew up with Hay in my life, the thing about it being an off night for him, I hope he doesn't take that view, and I hope he realises that time has maybe caught up with the body and done things to him that, you know, he probably didn't realise until, or maybe he did realise, I don't know, maybe he got that far into it.
I think it gets to a point for fighters is, you can be told it and you can think it, but sometimes you don't know until you've actually tried. Hatton did the same thing in terms of, okay, I know he didn't do it for so long, but
he came back to try and do it. Didn't he?
Exactly, and then it just wasn't there anymore. And if you look at David since he's come back, and over the last sort of 10 years, he hasn't been that active through injury and retirement and everything else like that. So yeah, look, he's got his promotional business now. Whatever he decides to do is up to him. But if he was to ask me my opinion, I think he should retire.
Yeah. All right. And a final question. If I can find it. How professional I am. Oh no, 2 more questions, sorry.
2 more.
Stuart Howe, right. We had the other week. Yeah, so Stuart asked, my question is, Kev, you are a brilliant coach. I've seen you on the pads myself. How much coaching do you do now as you're so busy with other ventures, and what do you enjoy the most about your boxing career? Probably covered all this, sorry Stuart.
That's all right.
So how much coaching do you do now?
Not a lot. I'd love to do more. I say training is where I feel most at home. But time commitments to start. There's a gym in Bedford I used, a Lonsdale gym there where I had Max Level. I was training for a while, but unfortunately he's retired for an injury.
Good place that as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, so perfect setup. So anyone in Bedford, it's a great
trained elite boxers down there.
Yeah,
Max, me.
Yeah, so it's a wicked gym down there, and it was a nice setup. It was working well, Max, but unfortunately injuries happened. So it's so I'd love to do more, but I just don't have the time. And but like if someone come up and it worked, then yeah, of course it would. Yeah.
Final question, Colin at CM Sports Agency. Would you put on some kind of entertainment alongside boxing at your shows, like Ultimate Boxer, that was on recently with music and Big Nasty? I don't know how we describe Big Nasty really, other than someone who wouldn't show your nan on a Saturday or Friday evening.
Yeah, it's been tried before. One of the biggest problems boxing has is the gaps in between to keep entertainment. So there's a few problems with this. Number one, as a promoter, you have to schedule the time as everything goes the distance.
Yeah.
So you have to start early enough to make sure that if everything goes the distance, you have the thing. You then have to have a float fight as well, which covers, and we all know no one likes to be float because you don't fit it in. So there's the problem with that is you never know how long the fight's going. Like Cox Ryder, for instance, the weekend, thought it was going to go much longer, won in the second. Yep. You effectively lost 10 rounds of time that you can't just fill up, so people just sit there. So yes, I would love to. I think it would be good for bigger people to do that. However, there's a cost related to that. Another thing is a lot of the people aren't in the venue until the main fight.
Very true.
So then are you shelling out as a promoter loads of money for a comedian, for instance, to come on in between that's going to be able to entertain? Not everybody's there because everyone's going to be in the bar.
And also you're not going to cater for everybody.
Exactly.
So, if I turned up at that Ultimate Boxer and saw some big nasty geezer telling me to shout the most obscene obscenities going, I'd probably turn around and gone back out to
exactly.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not averse to swear words, but I don't want to stand there in an arena
scream it out.
Scream it as loud as I can, louder than the other side. It's not for me.
The idea is right. I think they could do some entertainment. I think from a fan's point of view, sometimes, especially if the fights don't catch a light, it can be a laborious night, so some entertainment would break it up. But how that works, like logistically with timings and broadcasting, you've got another problem that Sky in particular do a lot of their in-between talking ringside, so how could you do that on the TV with someone comedian in the background? The other thing is you'd have to move it to a studio, for instance. Does that incur extra costs because they've got to hire a studio? I don't know that. I don't know the answers. I'm just saying but yeah, I think it would be a better thing. I think if you get there at 4:30 in the afternoon and watch boxing, you might only see 7 fights, but you could be set there for 7 hours potentially.
Warrington Selby's got the Kaiser Chiefs.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I think it's a good again. It doesn't solve the problem though if they're scheduling that in, because the problem becomes when fights finish early. So if you've scheduled the Kaiser Chiefs in, which I'm guessing they probably have,
I think it's due on just before the main event.
Okay, so then what will happen is that if the fights before that still go early, you're still going to have massive gaps where people are going to be sitting doing nothing. So I think the entertainment only works if they're not in a scheduled slot as such.
Unless you tell them, you're going to play between 6 and 2 songs, depending on what happens.
Yeah, exactly. It depends. So I say, if you've got a scheduled time, I don't think it necessarily works because you're not solving the problem. You're moving everything else to fit that in the middle. You want the entertainment as if a fight goes early to keep the crowd entertained while you're sitting there. Because if you've paid 150 quid for a ticket, a fight goes in 4 minutes, it's got 45 minutes sitting there making small talk with your missus before the next fight comes up, and no one wants to do that, do they? No.
Right, so that's all the questions. So thank you very much to those that have submitted them. Hopefully you found out a bit about Kev, a bit about iBoxing tickets, his background coming into boxing, and what kind of goes on behind the scenes at Goodwin Boxing. There's going to be a short phone call. I caught up with Steve. He's out in Turkey. We're just going to kind of tag that on to the end of this, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much. So, joining us on the phone from Turkey on his holidays, we've got Steve Goodwin with us. How you doing, Steve?
I'm good, mate. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. I think the weather's better over here than it is for Turkey, isn't it?
It was terrible yesterday. I was ankle deep in water yesterday, but today's a lot better. But it took me a while to get over the Saturday, the hay fight Saturday. I hate to see a great fighter go out like that, because he was a great fighter.
It's quite deflating seeing him. I think as a fan, it deflates you seeing him going out like that, assuming he does go out.
Well, to to me, I just think it's really sad. I hate seeing any sportsman, and deadly serious, talking about sportsmen, even Arsene Wenger when he gave his farewell speech on Saturday, I caught that on the internet. I think when these people, in any sports capacity, go on that bit too much, and I think with David, once again, I think his body, I mean, I don't know, I haven't spoken to anybody, but it looks as if his body had gone again, his Achilles like that had gone again. You know, it's just very sad that they, for somebody who was so great, in my opinion, you know, it tarnishes it, doesn't it? It's very sad.
It does a little bit.
I thought Tony Bellew fought a brilliant fight, and I thought James Tennyson was brilliant against Martin Ward. I thought for somebody that got knocked out by a journeyman in Pavel Senkov, it shows everybody that one knockout loss to a journeyman doesn't stop you becoming world ranked. And I think that's a success story for everybody to follow, the James Tennyson story. So I thought he was excellent, and I thought John Ryder, you know, to see him come back when he was basically ditched by Matchroom. And on an ITV show, I remember on the Eubank undercard, nobody was even there to watch him from Matchroom, so they basically didn't care anymore. Now he's back in the fold again. It just shows you how things can change. Yeah,
I thought Jamie Cox was disappointing. He didn't do himself justice at all. And do you
not think when Jamie Cox has ever got up, every time he goes up a level, he gets beat?
Oh, that's it. He's not, you know, he's a bit of a flat track bully in terms of his boxing CV. He smashes up kind of Bulgarians, but as soon as someone hits back, he seems to fold a bit. But
so I thought John Ryder now hopefully get himself a big fight. So that was really, really good news. So it's all things going well.
Excellent. So new signings over at Goodwin HQ.
Well, we've had two that have been announced this week. Jabran Khalid, who's the sensational kid, took him a year to get his license. He had, you know, people listening probably remember the story of Junior Saba.
Yeah.
Well, this was another similar type story, but we've managed to get him to get his license through after a year. Jabran, so he's out, which is great. He's a really good kid. And another heavyweight, Shane the Pain Simon from Portsmouth. He's turned over with us, looking to debut in September. So it's another heavyweight. We're getting quite a few heavyweights now. So we've got 5 or 6 now. So.
You've gone from having very, very few and a kind of empty division almost for yourselves to...
Yeah, I mean, we've got about 10. We've got between 10 and 12 cruiserweights, 10 and 12 light heavyweights, and we've always been lacking in the heavyweight department. But now we seem to be building up them as well. So it gives us a force in that division, and you know, heavyweights can create lots of excitement, and we've got some good heavyweights.
Is that maybe down?
So
is that maybe down to the relationship with Don Charles in some way? A man renowned for training heavyweights.
Yeah, well, Shane Simon isn't with Don Charles. John Pilatus signed up for the year. George Fox, his son, is with him. But yeah, you've got, we really have got some very, very exciting heavyweights. And I think it does help. I think what's happening now, they're looking towards us now, thinking, he can do really well with heavyweights.
Yeah.
I've handled Derek Chisora. So from that point of view, I think that does help. And I think people look, don't they, and they say as a manager, what's he doing, what's the CV? And I think it starts to, people say, well, hold on a minute, this isn't just about the promoting or little bit, it's about the management and what he brings to us as a manager, and that's why they're signing him. And it's great, long may it continue. We've got some other really, really good signings to come out that we're just finishing off in the next 2 to 3 weeks as well.
Excellent.
Not stopping. Be prepared for more signings.
And you'll be back in the UK next week, and we'll run through the full card for your call.
Yeah, and we'll be releasing details of another show in June, which we will unveil next Tuesday as well with a full card. Loads of exciting fights to announce next Tuesday. So we'll be back to discuss that next week.
All right, well, enjoy the sunshine. I hope it stays out for you in Turkey.
Thanks, mate, and I will see you next week in the office on Tuesday.
Excellent. Take care.